Oh my God. I mean, how many stories can I do? This one right here is so on point. It's not getting worse. It's actually the same. They just haven't targeted those. Any bully is a sociopath. Okay, period. Bullying. And the actual definition of bullying is not, oh, somebody doesn't like what my face looks like right now. Okay. Okay. Taunts, bullying, then groping. Isn't that rape? Isn't that the typical rapist? Okay, how sexual assaults are increasing in schools. I have a problem with the title because nothing's increasing. It was always that way. I'm literally talking about our school time and it was atrocious. They were all rapists. That's why they're rapists now. They have rapist parents and they're being raped and then they go rape at school. Their parents are bullied. There's a whole thing to this. Oh shit, I went to full screen. I was like, quiet. Little Billy's crying. Okay. Billy, not real name, is now being homeschooled after bullying turned into physical violence. Starting secondary school had not been easy for Billy, not his real name. What started as verbal taunts from one boy soon saw him become the target of a group of four boys. Four. This ain't, oh, a few bad apples, okay? In a gang. It's like a rock band, right? Four boys bullying some woman. Oh, we know all about that. Okay, but they also bully other men, right? You'll see this dynamic. Bullying becomes physically violent. Became physically violence. Became physically violence. You're supposed to say bullying became physically violent, right? I don't know. Yet, the abuse got even worse, escalating to sexual assault, as it would. What is bullying about? Bullying is about power and control. So, sexually assaulting someone is like the ultimate power and control and to abuse a human, right? When you start looking at the mindset of the socio. Four sociopath boys started bullying this kid. They feel ultra powerful and they're going to rape you. That's the military mind, right? As you see when you see these war things going, the military mindset. That's going to be so impossible to hit, okay? The group would corner him in the toilet and grope and touch his genitals. I never did that to my friend. I will literally tell you I never did that to my friends. I didn't touch their genitals. So these men know exactly what they're doing. Now, isn't this what they do to women, right? A man will corner you in a toilet or corner you in an area in your house, in somewhere, down an alley, grope and touch your genitals. Yes. Unsurprisingly, Billy's mental health quickly deteriorated. Did I not say sociopaths cause mental illness? Okay. He is now being homeschooled and he struggles to leave the house because of anxiety. Yes. So I want to hear about this other perpetrator that's saying he didn't want to leave the house anymore, and yet he was doing conduct like this the whole time. Okay, yeah. Anyway, I'm just saying. Billy is receiving support from Embrace, a charity that works with children who have been a victim of crime. He says that he's starting to feel stronger, while his parents say his panic attacks and nightmares are receding thanks to the support he is getting. However, what he experienced was part of an increase in peer-on-peer abuse. That is worrying schools. This is not new, you idiots. Like, what the hell? Like, this is what happened throughout my whole school right here. This is why I don't want to be in school. This is why I had enough of it. Because minus the frat housing, I didn't touch nobody's goddamn genitals. This is the level of behavior where it goes that step beyond, and we didn't do it to kids to bully that. Like, it's a different mindset in the action because we're playing around with my friends, right? Again, it's nothing good. We shouldn't be doing this anyway. But the mindset isn't to overpower my friends and feel power and control, and I'm gonna like totally try to harm them in that mental way where they're doing it to this boy to really hurt him. Like, there is a little difference in the mindset. It's just the actions are still bad and the same, right? The actions and what they're doing. And so the action should have never been allowed, but it was always there. And then the adult, not the adult, the other bullies, the boys, were continually being sexually and verbally abusive to all the girls. This was the conduct that they said boys will be boys. And then everybody got mental health issues now, right? Because the bullies have a personality disorder, right? The four? Yeah. So they're sociopaths. These four right here? Yeah. So they're four. That's a lot. So you have four socios going up against this. This is male supremacy, by the way. Let's break it down so we understand what the fuck that is. So they will go and they will try to exert their power over a group of people. And that's how you get racism, right? But first of all, the four boys are overpowering, and that's due to male supremacy, men over women. So they treat women this way, so they will do this to any group of people. So that's how slavery comes into play in this thing. Yeah, I'm just trying to break it down for other people that try to make some sense of what how that came about in history, and how they keep trying to say that America's not a Christian pedo nation in every which way, shape, or form that they keep trying to explain it. Like, you can't get out of the fact that it's all about Christianity. Mm-mm. So it's all about it's actually about male supremacy, Christian sociopath, white males, that are also racist. Like, that are also racist. It's like that kind of thing. But all men are male supremacists because they indoctrinated all men into this. Where do they get the indoctrination? From Christianity. Where did Christianity get it? Well, somewhere past in time, it was came down the line. Okay. From all those religions. Like, they're sitting there going, is Christianity the same as Catholics? I'm like, yes, they still teach male supremacy. Is the Soviet Union, atheist, whatever they were trying to go at, are they the same? Yes, they're teaching male supremacy. All right, what happened to Billy here? Billy's experience was unusual in that most abuses is carried out by boys against girls. That's not true. Oh, who wrote this? Wait a minute. Who wrote this? Wait, they don't have a name. Oh, Michael Savage. Michael is pretending that. Oh, see, I told you, they haven't even touched on the boy portion. I'm so on topic. Oh, I'm the best on this topic. So I've been touching on this topic, and I've been talking about how you all have been abusive to each other and you rape other boys, right? Started coming up, right? The broomstick. Boys have been raping each other. That's why we were seeing the conduct against girls. This is why. It's not unusual. It's typical. Male supremacy. God damn it. It's like I should get paid for being a teacher on this topic. Okay, really, I should. Because nobody seems to understand it. Okay, male supremacy is a sociopath. That's number one. Two, they have a very arrogant outlook on everything. They're a bunch of fucking egotistical piles of shit. Okay, so they have a narcissistic personality disorder in that, right? So their whole thing is to overpower and seek power and control. So when they do that, that includes on other males. And so the males, that's why there's so much violence in the world, right? You will see men start duking it out like they're having a cockfight, right? They're like, and they start shooting up the place, right? That's male supremacy. Because that wouldn't be there if they weren't trying to prove their manhood. Like, there's a manhood thing here where they're trying to make them into sociopaths to start fighting and proving their manhood and doing this thing, and then the world's a fucking fucked up place, right? So it's not unusual. You see it every day, actually, in every different way. And men sitting there trying to talk shit to each other, and then all of a sudden it gets into a big violent fest, right? Okay. Now, there was a reason why they're a bunch of rapists. So when they go and rape women, they have no problem of raping themselves. Like, themselves, by themselves. Huh? They have no problems of raping other boys because they see their conduct as fine and they don't care, and they're trying to overpower boys. They're trying to overpower girls. And again, it's not about sex. It's about power and control. So if they're trying to power and control the boys, they will rape them too. Yeah. Why do they say suck my dick, right? Why do they say that? Is that not disgusting? Like they would, like they're sitting there telling somebody off, but to do something sexual to them. Okay. Do women say this? I say kiss my butt. But it actually is like an action of like submit and, kiss my shoe versus doing a sex act to me against my will. Why would some guy get off on telling some guy off and telling him to do something sexual to him? It's a rape action. He wants to rape you. He's like, suck my dick, like doing that. It's an action of wanting to rape somebody. It's gross, but they say it. They're rapists, but that's them. They say so much in their everyday language, like they're so stupid. But anyway, research into the police records by the Observer found a steep increase in reports of sexual assault and rape in England and Wales since 2019. Now, I've been touching on England and Wales, okay? England and Wales. I'm like, England and Wales. The reason why there's a steep increase in reports is because education. Okay, so the education portion doesn't stop rape. It doesn't halt it. It doesn't do any of these things. What it does is gives education to kids to know what it's called, right? So somebody touches you or bullies you or gropes you or anything, they now know what it's called. Like when we were kids, they didn't say groping. They didn't do any of this shit. So kids are running around doing it like crazy and everybody's brushing it off like it's totally fine. So there wouldn't be a list of reports. And even if they did try to report it, they would not take that report because they didn't view it as a bad thing because it was ran by male supremacists. That's the real education on this stuff. Get it right, everybody. Okay, so by 2022, the figures released under Freedom of Information Act showed a 40% increase with an even greater increase in reports on incidents on school property. Nothing's new. What it means is more education, and they're starting to report it. And I'm so glad to read it, though, because it means that the kids are getting it. And if the kids are getting it, I wish we got it much earlier. Police and the government have launched a series of initiatives over the last few years as concerns over the issues has increased. However, the ubiquity of smartphones, here we go, and the access to porn and viral misogynistic content that they provide are regularly cited as a driver of some alarming behavior. Actually, the churches. So not the porn. We all saw porn as kids. The porn is not turning people into rapists. Okay. I'm like, let me breathe. I swear I have to keep saying the same thing over and over again on this topic because this is how dumb like the public is. And porn has no relationship to being a sociopath rapist seeking power and control. Okay. So, the misogynistic content would be coming from religious doctrines. So we already looked at England and Wales. So their top religion was Christianity, right? That's the same thing in America. That's the same thing across the globe in many parts of the countries, be it Catholic, that, or a leftover remnants of it used to be. And also other religions that teach male supremacy. So it's talking about the head of the household, right? The head leaders. The world is being ran by men. So men are constantly being promoted that women cannot be leaders, do not respect them. We need to tell them what to do. The schools are telling them how to dress. So they pick this up in the school system, which is part of male supremacy, the remnants of it. And so then it teaches them to sex shame. It teaches them all these things. Then you said promote violence, for boys to be violent and to not have emotions. It's a number of things right here. We can go on. Okay, the child abuse at home. That's another thing. Teaching the kids violence, beating them up, being mentally abusive, these type of things. So they will act out. So those are those areas right there. But porn has about zero to do with this topic. So throw that out. Kate Parker, who is the founder of the School Consent Project, which has held sessions with thousands of pupils about consent. Okay, but a socio does not care, and a person that's seeking power and control does not care about consent. They know about consent. They don't care. If they have to ask you, they feel weak. They want to feel their dominance, and you want them. You're sitting there promoting them to be a man in the way to be dominant, to go sit there and go do something without it asking. Kate Parker, who is the founder of the School Consent Project, which has held sessions with thousands of pupils about consent, said that while sexual assaults were the most serious form of abuse, she was hearing more reports of online sexual harassment too. She's also worried that some of the views she has heard from young men. You're not targeting. Okay, this is the viewpoint of this is all kinds of wrong. Okay, when you're teaching consent to kids, that's the kids that are not a bunch of sociopath rapists, okay? So all you're doing is letting them know that what they're doing is wrong, right? So they need to ask consent before they do anything. This does not stop a rapist. This does not stop the mentality of male supremacy. This does not stop the action of rape, because rape is not about sex. So you're talking about an action of sex and asking consent, but actually it's about agency altogether. So if you're pro anything that is anti-agency, you are promoting rape. There's so much in that topic, but teaching consent, all that's about, all you're doing, the only focus of you is letting the general population that's not a bunch of psychotics sit there and know that when somebody does what they're doing, it's rape. It doesn't stop this. It's not this is going at it acting like what they're doing is an ignorant action, and what they're doing is about sex when it's not. So that's what they're missing right there. Over the 9 years we've been going, I hope to hear views getting more progressive. That's not what we're seeing. Yeah, because you're not hitting the right thing. I'm going to sit over here going, I'm telling you, I'm a know-it-all. I do know on this topic. That's why I was like, yep, I finally got it. I finally got the curriculum, you guys. Okay. A lot of young people are being exposed to extremist views, and it's having an impact on our view of the world. Okay, wait a minute. Okay, those extremist views are from the Bible. Those extremist views were always there. Those extremist views are the things that you need to tackle, which you refuse to do because you guys are a bunch of white male supremacists that refuse to look at your historical past. And when you don't look at that honestly, and the mindset it was at the intro of your Bible doctrines right there, when you start teaching men that women were here to please them, that's bullshit. That's male supremacy. So it actually starts from that. And when it starts going into this thing, I love the I was like, I'm just like tired. The lack of a mirror here. Being exposed to extremist views. So yes, the Bible is extremist views. To be honest with you. Yeah, all those religions are extremist views. If you go into all of them and it starts going, women need to submit to a male, and we're here to please them, and they are supposed to be a man. Their definition of a man is really bad. So their definition of a man is to be violent, have no feelings, have none of this, and be a strong leader, and all this stuff. And women are supposed to submit and stay home and fucking kiss their ass. That's the problem right there. The enslavement of women. You didn't look at it as extremist views. You don't want to call it an extremist views. What's extremist views? Yeah, I can tell you it's not far away from your own. Let's see. Okay, the world. Okay, things like a girl shouldn't be dressed that way. Okay, when did that start? That was a long time ago. I just pulled up a news story on that too. I go, you need to hand them a pamphlet to get a therapist for their control issues. If women start doing that, oh my God, if any of those guys would actually go to a therapist, we might save the world. Okay, so this was part of the public school. Where do you think they got that? The Bible. Muslims think that way too. Mormons think that way. We could name a whole bunch of religions that think that way. A girl shouldn't be dressed that way. Again, it has nothing to do with how we're dressed. and you're putting your problems onto women when the problem is with boys. The problem is with men. So they put this into every school. They taught little boys to be a piece of shit and start sex shaming girls and they taught them, we need to tell girls what to do. We need to tell them how to dress. So if that girl right there is making me like be turned on, we need to hurt her. We need to hurt her. We need to do something against her will. So you've been teaching that to little children the whole time. See, it has nothing to do with sex. This right here has nothing to do with sex. It has to do with power and control, right? You got to tell her what to do. If she doesn't listen to me, I'm going to get mad. And if she doesn't listen to me, I'm going to commit femicide. So it actually goes into murder, believe it or not. This is one of the layers that causes men to get violent and kill. Because they have an expectation that we need to listen to them. And when we don't, they start feeling like less of a man, and they get really angry, and they have a major expectation that we need to do whatever the fuck they want. So this is one of the most dangerous, one of the layers, we're going to call this a layer of things that they learned to make them this psychotic. Okay. Like, and it could happen with girls too, doing this. Maybe some that actually also identify with male. You might see that because they're identifying with the gender that's a hot mess. So I was like, yeah, that you might see that. Okay, but you got that from the Bible. So extremist views. I mean, maybe they just don't want to call out the fact that Christianity and all those religions are extremist views, and they just want to throw it out there generically without being targeted for saying you're anti-religion or some or the messaging in the religion. But anyway, a girl shouldn't be dressed that way. That if a girl has X amount of skin on show, she really is asking for it. Things like rape and sexual violence can't happen in the context of a relationship. It's shocking. Oh, yeah. And when I was talking about me with that decent looking pedo rapist, a keyboard player of shares, the men didn't want to see that as rape. They wanted to see it as, I know better and I know what I was doing because, you know, we have to sex shame her because that's the whole thing about male supremacy, right? Because they're criminal. They're sociopath criminal behavior. So what they do is they can't take accountability for their actions on kids. And so they will flip it onto the child. You know, you made me touch you. Yeah, this thing. That is the mindset. I'm trying to help you guys out with the criminal mindset of these perpetrators. And it's not about porn. It's not about any of that. Okay, police are watching closely. What a joke. Police are watching closely everybody getting raped and totally watching it and not doing anything. If the new Online Safety Act designed to clamp down on damaging content. Oh, God. Oh, see, censorship. Okay, this is absolutely not the way to go, guys. Everybody's so dumb. Because what's happening here now is the male supremacists are going, yes, now we're going to censor everybody talking bad about male supremacy. And our conduct. And they're not targeting damaging content. So now they want to target women again. What are they going after? You said pornography. Now you're sitting there talking out of two parts of your mouth. Okay, you're saying pornography is a problem, which actually it is not causing that problem. But you're also saying this right here. Where is it? You're not making any sense. A girl shouldn't be dressed that way. Okay, so you can't hold two views in the same thing here. So you're saying you're trying to teach kids that this shouldn't be said, right? A girl shouldn't dress that way. But then you just said pornography. So a girl could be naked, but they're still not supposed to rape anybody. So you're not on point. And you're going to get women targeted again because of this stupidity. I'm trying to explain this to you. Police are actually a male supremacist entity. So male supremacists will target women. So no matter what you just asked it here, what do you think they're going to what do you think they're going to clamp down on? They're going to go target women. That's just their thing. It's just going to be that way. They're not targeting men because if they were targeting men for the things that they need to target them, then the police would have to be shut down. Okay? Because they're a violent entity They're ones that actually believe in targeting women, and they call them sex workers. Well, the prostitute thing, they were calling them derogatories, and they made laws to go target women. It's the same thing about why is she dressed that way. Okay, so it goes into this thing. There's no safety act because nobody's safe. It's just stupidity of them trying to act and pretend. We think that if we limit kids' ability to be educated, then we're going to save kids. That is not the fuck way to go about this. Kids already know a lot about the world, whether you like it or not. They know sex exists. They know these things. The thing is, it's not every kid's out here raping everybody. There's a lot of kids that are, though. But Parker believes that teachers need to be more supportive to challenge views. So I'm here to challenge your view. Claire Kelly, Associate Head of Policy NSPCC, said that education about relationships, sex, and health should have a significant role to play. To make this a reality, we need the government to ensure that each and every school has the resources they need to confidently deliver a high-quality curriculum. It's important that children are supported and understand what healthy relationships look like and what constitutes abuse as part of a culture within schools that recognizes and responds to harmful sexual behavior, challenges misogynistic attitudes, and stops inappropriate behavior from escalating. Yeah, but you're also freedom of religion. So, riddle me this. How are you going to tackle something if you're pro-religious freedom? I don't know what they are over there. Are they, do they have that same thought? I'm like, do they have that same thought over there? I'm like, I'm not in England and Wales. Okay, that's what they do. At no point you don't think Christianity is feeling this at all. It is, because it's male supremacy. I'm just saying. How are you going to tackle? I'm going to ask the question. How are you going to tackle something that's totally heavily harmful to kids and tackle that thing right there? That's the fundamental basis of their religion. Men telling women what to do. The Pope is telling women what to do. That's the fundamentals of this whole thing. It has nothing to do with sex. He is actually controlling our bodies from afar. I'm like, from afar. He's not even over here and he's raping me. What is rape? Anti-agency. What is it about? Power and control. It has nothing to do with relationships, sex. Sex is abused by rapists. And they're mentally unstable in a way because they have a PD, so they will do anything to harm people, and they will cause mental illness in everybody. And they're ultra violent. And they're ultra violent most of the time. Some may just be verbally violent. I've seen some that have been just very verbally violent. I could be verbally violent. I could be verbally violent. No, but seriously, they could be verbally abusive. I know, who could I think of like that? Ben. I'm like Ben. What's his name? The Jewish Ben. I'm like the Jewish Ben. He's verbally violent. He's verbally abusive. Verbally abusive, not in the way of saying F you and kiss my ass or anything like that, because it's not that we're talking about. He's verbally abusive in the sense that women need to do what he tells them to do, and how dumb our gender is for thinking this, and we're here to do this. And he's such a sociopath. He's like, I don't care about any other family. He does this thing. And that's obviously from childhood abuse. And he's Jewish, I think, so he wears his little yarmulke. So it's not limited to any group or religion, particularly. But when your country is a majority of Christians, it is definitely the problem of it. So pure on pure abuse has been going on since the beginning of time. For some reason, back in the day, young girls would just they would say, oh, when they were lifting up their skirt and shit, like, oh, you just need to let him do it. And so nobody reported that violence. 1985, holy crap. Do I need to bring that story back up? Did I put it back up? It was so horrible, the 1985. The whole school was pregnant. The whole fucking high school is pregnant. And they're sitting there not saying the word rape one single time. And what is the problem here, kids? Y'all need to go to Jesus. That's what they're saying. And they need to have dinner with their parents to stop it. Boys are victims too of male supremacy, but boys are the ones that promote male supremacy. So we call this a self-harm. Okay? It isn't women doing it, it is men. So the problem is with men. So that's the core thing of male supremacy. So that's the start of it all, okay? And that's before racism comes into play. That's before any of that stuff. This is actually the dissected version of it before you see it all in motion, right? So it's men. So men have a mental problem. It's called a personality disorder. So then they start cockfighting. Okay, I'm over you. I'm over this. Women are weak. Women are weak. So women was the first thing out of it. So it needed that to catapult into, now I'm a racist, because they needed to have slavery in this mix. Like, where did the slavery come from, right? So they believe that they're over females, and females need to submit to them, and that God landed them here on earth for their pleasure. Okay, there's a whole doctrine about this. So next comes, they need to cockfight for power, because it's all power and control, right? So they're going to start cockfighting for power and control. Then somehow they turned into black people are beneath us, so we need to take over them and enslave them. So at some point there, however they explain that in the curricula, the critical race theory, I'm not sure how they came to how that began right there. They may not specifically know. I don't know. But anyway, at some point here, they empower him, and then they start telling him that they're weak and they're the lesser human. But they already did this, right? They did this to women first. Okay, so first with women, they are weak and beneath them, and that white men are the ultimate power, dominant piece of crap, right? So this is where this started. And then it started tailing off. So this is the dissected version of where it came from, what it is, and what the dissected version of a sociopath. So it's all the same. So then, because they were abused, and they start abusing everybody else because they're getting off on harming other people, right? They don't have any feelings towards harming other people. So everything they do is ultra violent. They don't care. So they'll run you over and they'll rape everything. And whatever they want, it's self-centered, right? So whatever I want, I'm going to go do and I'm going to go get. And so then to show their dominance, like throughout school, they'll start bullying groups of people. So they'll bully anything that they just don't like. It really is this stupid, okay? And then they become violent, and then they will kill you. And they have no fucks about it. It's all about power and control. It is that little thing right there. Sex isn't involved in it. The reason why sex is involved in it at all, in any aspect, beyond, they just get off on being violent. They need to procreate with the white dominant group, and depending on what country, because that's why I'm trying to make it so generic, because if you're in another country, they're not looking to find the golden white sun, right? So maybe somewhere like in Africa, they want some golden, other child, but their mindset may be the same about it. But for white men, when you're looking at the white supremacy thing, the reason why they want, mostly when you're going off the Christian ones that are, God, these people, what they want is to get white boys. So they need the white male leader. So they're trying to force and rape women into having the white son. so they don't go extinct, right? So they believe that they're going to lose power and they need to populate and do this thing. Which ironically, the funny thing about it is they kept saying this about Hispanics. They're like, they keep having all these babies because they're trying to take control of the world. This comes out of white supremacist mouth. So that's their fear. So they have a fear of going extinct and losing power. So they promote rape and to do things against women's will so they don't go extinct, and they need the white sons, right? They're looking for the white sons. They're not looking for people of color. They're not looking for a bunch of women, though they need the women to be the vessel for their evil sons to rule the world. So that is the actual doctrine. There's a doctrine with it. So it isn't just a random occurring thing in nature. It is a man-made part of that thing, but it stemmed off of the PD because of the narcissist personality disorder part, I believe, because and the God complex. They have a very big God complex, and so they think they're God. A lot of them will start religions because they believe that they are. I don't know. They have some problems, dude. So they go into this thing, and that's where it's coming from. Absolutely. So men of color also got it too. So they believe the same male supremacist portion of it. They just touch on the racism part, but they still are indoctrinated into male supremacy. And so if you don't point it out, they just sound just as ridiculous as anybody else. And that's the problem with it. So, so nobody's away from the topic. They've all bullied violence. Football. So football was the thing because they used football as a way to explain their male dominance. And so what they did was they started raping the boys. So anybody that got into football got fucking touched, dude. The boys got fucking raped. They have not talked about it. That's why I was so angry. I was like, Alyssa Milano had a fucking moment here to fucking use her mouth again. And she don't do it. I'm like, you're bringing your 12-year-old son here. Bring it up, dude. Oh, you want your son to be touched? That's the culture that's been going on there. I go, that's not new. We just haven't talked about it. I've talked about it, but the general population hasn't talked about it. So I was like, I did research. And when I was doing the research, I go, I'll be damned, this shit's been going on forever. And for some reason, I didn't know they were raping them, though. I knew they did the frat housing, like the pants thing and shit like that. I didn't know they were shoving up friggin' broomsticks and using baseball bats and doing full-blown rape actions, touching each other, rubbing their genitals in their faces and doing all these things. Yeah, that was a common action. Where adult men were sitting there going, oh yeah, it's typical boy stuff. I was like, no wonder all the teachers are getting arrested. They got touched. That's why they raped half the school. So they bullied me. I was saying those guys are the bullies. I saw all these football fans too, people I'm fans of, they're bullies. They're absolute big time bullies, and they did the same conduct. That's what I saw. And I saw it and I go, oh shit. I go, these are the guys that I hated because they were picking on me, and they're still picking on me. They're horrible humans. They're rapists. Yeah, group of 4 boys, the group of the 4 band members. Yeah, yeah. When I was reading that, I was just like, yes. I go, they normally bully in packs. It's usually like the group of 3 girls, 4 girls, or the group of 5 guys. It's never this like one bad seed person. Are you kidding? Everybody that talks about their past try to paint themselves in this light of, I wasn't involved. I didn't do nothing like that. I just saw my friend here, my guy friend, doing this. And I wasn't really part of it. It's like, no, that's a lie. You thought it was funny and was laughing. You guys are making me sound like the worst one in the room, and that's not what happened. All the kids joined in this conduct in some level, or, you know, not everybody raped everybody in school, okay? But the boys were definitely doing that. But in conduct where they're laughing at, you know, doing a lot of these frat house behaviors. I was like, that's the only way I can explain it. The frat house behaviors and, you know, just jokester prank things. How hilarious is it to throw toothpaste in someone's freaking hair. How hilarious is it to do all these things or call somebody fat or do all these things, right? We were not big on the name calling thing. Um, in private, we may have names for people. We didn't go up to people and go, oh, you're an ugly fat cow. Like, we never did that. I don't know about anybody else in my group, but I didn't do that. And I say half my friends did not do that. If there's a couple in here that I have no idea what the hell they did. No. It's like we would never say it to their face. If we said anything, it was in private. Because that's actually nobody should really do that either, but it's a different mindset to go up to a person and say something to their face like that. In the whole mindset to that is to make them feel really bad and try to take control over that person. That's a very different thing. So no, I never did that. No way in hell. I remember a couple of my friends get into some little tiffs with some people, but I don't remember them walking around this school and then walking down and then saying some shit to somebody like that, like just randomly trying to put him down. No recollection of that. And I don't believe that was any of us. We did stuff in private. Like, to be honest, we said stuff in private. That's a different mindset. That's the mindset that you want to avoid. That person right there, because they're going to be very confident in doing physical violence, potentially. The online culture is, it does play a part, but what's actually really playing the part is your parents. So think about it this way, because it's the same thing from back when, because they didn't have online back then, right? It was atrocious. It was bad. Oh, it was bad. Okay, so we didn't have online culture. We had in-person culture, like in-person culture. So we had TV culture too. We had a lot of TV stuff. Mm, we had TV. We had magazines. And so wherever you can obtain information is part of the environment, right? So anything that's part of the environment. But who's feeling what's in the environment, right? The parents. But here's the thing that doesn't make any freaking sense whatsoever is if you mute the parent that's being bad, right? Like, let's just say that you got this atrociously abusive parent and they're saying this shit online, right? Okay, so can you tell me what's going to happen here? So let's say they mute the parent. We don't hear them anymore, right? But they still have kids and they're abusing their fucking kids at home and nobody did shit. And to me, when something's in the open and you see it happening, then it's the door of opportunity to go, oh, good, now we see a flag. So somebody should go to their home. The logic and reasoning to these people is insanity. So they think that muting something out is going to make the world healthy. No, not at all. It'll be 1985 again because we didn't have an online thing here. Hey, Harvard, do I sound off? Does it make sense to mute somebody and think that you just solved a problem? No. This is their... India hurt my brain on this too. Okay, India has half the IQ of the rest of the world. Okay, so they believe that kids are sexually assaulting out of curiosity. They believe that if you kidnap a kid and you rape them, gang rape them, that it's out of curiosity and it's out of seeing porn. Porn has nothing to do with, I cannot stress this, porn is not the topic. Throw it out. Throw that out the window about it. It just goes to show that even the educators are so lost on it's not about sex. And maybe it's because they're such racist I don't know, you guys, because you have to grasp that the religion is teaching this thing called male supremacy. And to get that and what that's about, you have to come to admit that maybe something you believed in is not good. and you're trying to tackle that by all the while teaching it. and being so far away from what that's about. I don't know, but that's what rape's about. I don't know. It's just one of those things where they do not get the topic. And teaching consent is just, again, going at it like they're just ignorant idiots. Like I said, there's a level of ignorance in the fact that kids don't understand that, say, the frat house behavior. Let's say they're running around just pulling their pants out, just being funny, right? Different thing than freaking touching kids' genitals. I didn't touch no kids' genitals. Someone got an elbow in the genital though, and that was a predator. But I was like, do you want me to talk that story? Uh, no, but I mean, nobody's going around doing that. And anybody who's doing that, it may also be a sign that their parents are touching them, or some sibling is touching them, or some other adult is touching them. Yes. So these are other signs that you're ignoring as to why the kids are also doing that. Also do it. It's like an also thing in it. And I'm so frustrated. I can't talk anymore. I'm so tired. Like it's just the whole public is so off on the topic. Okay, so England and Wales, by the way, has a higher well, the UK has a higher IQ than America. They are a little ahead on the fact that they targeted the police. But again, they're like, we're going to go to the police. I'm like, okay, you are literally missing everything about the topic. How are you going to teach anything when you don't even know what the fuck it's about? Bullying becomes physically violent no matter what. At some point. Because they're degrading you. They're trying to overpower you. And then at some point, they're going to do something violent, such as that girl trying to set us up to get raped. Because her enjoyment is getting off on harm. They are sociopaths. There is no bully that is not a sociopath. Let's just put it that way. There's some conduct that you may see as bullying, but it's not technically bullying, like the bullying in the actual definition. Like you sing a song and it sounds like shit and you start laughing at it. You could call it bullying, but that's not actually part of their actual definition of bullying. It's just awful, dude. It's just an awful song and people are being honest. Okay, so, but we're talking about in like the context of females, there's a chronic bullying on our gender. There's a chronic bullying actually amongst men, if you really want to look at that, where they're constantly cockfighting. Yes, they're trying to constantly go back and forth with each other. Otherwise, the world wouldn't have all these wars, right? Mm-hmm. Why do they rape during wars? Those are all together. Like they're talking about the war thing. They're like, they're using rape as a war weapon. It's like, no shit, because they've been doing that every day. It's been a war. So it just shows how they're not connecting those things together. Anti-agency. Leave it at that. Throw porn out the window. It's not related. The porn would look different. I was like, it would look different, actually, probably, if people just focus right here. But porn does not teach rape. Believe it or not. I mean, unless you're watching somebody raping somebody doing it, but even still, that's not, if you're not a sociopath, you're not going to look at a video like that and go, I'm going to do that action. Okay? I'm not a serial killer. I watch serial killers. Am I going to go out to be a serial killer? It's that thing. So throw it out the window. Just erase it from your mind. Focus on male supremacy. Focus on anti-agency. Focus on that, because there's more actions than just sexual violence. It became physically violent, right? Okay, so you're actually breaking down. I even want to point this out. You're breaking down domestic violence right here, because they start bullying. So they want to verbally taunt. Like they'll do this thing of, I have an expectation and I want you need to listen to me. You only need to listen to me. I'm not listening. I don't have any respect for women. I don't have this, that, and the end. Okay, so they start cockfighting, right? All of a sudden, cops come in, they're like, this is a dispute. This is stupid ass shit. Anyway, this leads to femicide. It will lead to femicide. It will also lead to murdering of males. Now we're seeing a lot of that too, right? So you see a lot of gang violence. Oh, those guys are the biggest hot mess ever. So they're a bunch of male supremacists, psychotics that will sit there and kill everybody under the sun for fun and to show their dominance and cockfighting. And they think that having all their weaponry and picking on each other back and forth is showing that they're a bunch of men. It's just showing that they all need a fucking head doctor. Okay, so basically at the end of the day. So yeah, so they're bullying each other and they're trying to prove their dominance. And so they all know the mindset that it takes to be a rapist. And they know male supremacy very well, actually. But they pretend they don't. Some of them are very out and proud sociopaths. Some of them are. Socio-D, whatever the hell. So yeah. And that was them in school. You need to respect me. I was like, well, you need to respect women first. You need to respect other people first. You respect everybody, then pretty much, most people will respect you. But then you get these pieces of shit like this. And they want to sit there and take control of a room. Women do it too, though. And I think it just has to do with them having it done to them. And so they feel powerless. And so for them, they feel more powerful doing this to other females as well. So I had a lot of females doing that to me. And I'm such a nice person. I literally just ignore them. And I'm just like, one day these trashy girls, will sit there and they'll be sorry for this. One day, like they're going to not do well in life. And unfortunately, they do well in life because the more that you're shitty to other women, the more these men right here, because look at this. Wouldn't this be the majority? You have a group of 4 boys who are bullies. This would be a big group of a majority, right? Against one person. The one person's going to get harmed and knocked out. It's going to be the end of them. So these 4 boys would kill this kid eventually, right? If you just let it be and do this thing. And this represents the global scale of men as the big majority harming minority groups of people. And yeah, raping us in a toilet. I mean, basically, that pretty much sums up men altogether. And every time I bring the topic up, someone goes, women, women, women. Does this thing. Again, when you teach your kids this shit, it has a potential to get a lot of people to act in this manner, regardless of the gender, but it's done from and through men. It's not a new thing. Lily's experience was unusual in that most abuse is carried out by boys against girls. See, why do they think that though? Like the literal news every day is about men fighting each other. I said you need to focus on football. You're going to see something in the football thing. Because the football thing also used in one of the Me Too stories of some males, right? So the dad and their sons. And I was like, yeah, we know that there's this thing about it. The way that they're wrapping their mind around the football. I mean, obviously it sounds really stupid because it's a dumb game. They're equating their manhood to a game where they are brutally all over their body. Okay. And they were teaching their sons, like, if you don't play, it's not going to show your manhood. It's so stupid. It's like one of those stupidest things ever. But yeah, so then they start doing these horrible things to each other and they don't separate the game from anything. So they're just touching everybody, and they were touching all the boys, and they were raping the boys, and they were raping them into the game. And they looked at it, they actually minimized this as to just frat housing. I was like, I wouldn't even call that frat housing. That's just straight up rape. Because to me, frat housing is like All right, you guys are going to drink about 10 bottles of beer at once, and we're going to fucking party rage this shit, do this thing. And then the deep pantsing thing was such a normal thing, though, even though sometimes your underwear would go with it. But that is an assault. Okay, it is. But it's a little far and away from the fact of somebody legitimately like doing a rape action to you and rubbing genitals. Okay, so these things are that thing right there. Okay, so the depouncing thing you can consider a sexual assault, definitely, but it was actually the most common form of frat housing that I recall in school. Outside that, no. So the other things we're doing, games like drinking games or doing stupid shit like, I don't know, maybe some of these people were standing on a car driving some dumb shit. Like just things like that where it wasn't anybody actually physically raping someone. But these people are physically raping people. And they were the whole time. If my friends were grabbing genitals, I can't speak for them. That was not something I did. No way in hell. Not before marriage, kids. No, I did not do that. I did not do that. So, I would be scared to death to do that. I think I knew enough to know that you couldn't do that. Somehow we learned that was bad at some point. I don't know when. Lily's experience was unusual and that most abuse is carried out by boys against girls. And then you go to the news and it's like, oh, these guys are shooting up the place. They're shooting up each other. They're driving around doing this thing. Oh, these guys went to a bar. They started getting into a fight and one killed the other. Then these neighbors are having a fight and, doing this thing. They kill each other. They do this other, what else do they do? Oh, yeah, no. And then the Boy Scout, they start raping all the boys, the pastors, the church, the Catholic Church raping all the boys. So, well, you want to stick to just the schoolboy thing. So on each other. Yeah. Then the school fight. Yeah. With the boys punching each other out. You guys told them to go fight other boys. They promoted kids to go fight other boys. So I don't know where they're saying it's unusual. I mean, didn't they do the Christmas Story? Wasn't that guy bullying that boy? I don't know, the redhead. That evil redhead. I don't remember. Yeah, so there would be a 40%, another explanation for that. Okay, so Me Too was what? The 2017, 2018 portion. So by 2022, there was more reports. So that was a good thing. So Me Too, you could thank Me Too for that thing, because it means that other boys were like, wait a minute. So it falls in line with the statistical data of the awareness for victims. The rapist is not going to be reporting shit. The victims of all these boys, and it doesn't mean, and here's another thing to keep in mind on the statistics. Out of the 40% that reported does not mean that out of that 40% that none of those boys also participated in sexual violence on other boys. Keep that in mind. Okay, so that's another thing. It also doesn't let you know the, okay, so they're specifically going on the school property. Okay, I want to make sure I'm just sticking to the thing. 40% on the school property. Yeah, so they started reporting more there. But it doesn't mean that they also were not perpetrators on other boys or other girls. Many times I've noticed too, so the boys will be perpetrators on other boys, but they'll sit there and go, I'm a victim of that, and then they go and perpetrate on females. So the same victim will then also perpetrate on females. So the statistics of this, you cannot actually get all the information you would really want from that 40%. So if the boys I got touched by, say John, so-and-so, but then girls are reporting sexual conduct too, right? Or some incidents on school property, right? So let's say a 60% of girls increase from girls. And then in that 40%, you don't see that John also then touched the girls and or the victim of that John touched other girls or did conduct to the girls, right? See, the breakdown right there is really important, actually. Like, I'm that anal, like, I'd want to see, like, the more nitty gritty of that. Um, because you want to see if, I'll tell you kind of what you want to see. So you want to see, like, if John, let's call him John, the bully of the school, is like touching this boy, and does this boy then go and touch other girls because he feels powerless and he thinks that it's something, right? You want to see, like, this thing, is this the dynamic, or do you see John touching this boy and then he's also touching a bunch of girls, and then it's just everybody being a victim in it? But typically, I think what's happening is they normalize them touching each other. Actually, they kind of go back and forth with it most of the time, and then they will go and just do this conduct in a pack, right? A pack of these boys will then start going after the females and start harming the females. So there is a, I always say catapult. There's a catapult to their actions, right? So there's something in the environment where it's kind of feeding into it, where they're doing it to each other, and then they go and harm a bunch of girls. So they harm each other, then they go rape a bunch of girls, right? So it's being that way versus they just went to school and just started randomly raping a bunch of girls. It's more or less a home life thing where dad's promoting it, or some other bullshit, some bullshit. Then they come to school and then they start taking it out on the kids there, and they start bringing their home life of fucking hell to school. And then all the kids start learning it, and they start doing it back and forth to each other. Nobody stops it. They kind of enable it, and then they go and they harm everybody at the school. That's how you had the 1985 story with them being all pregnant in the school. And it wasn't just, they didn't even know if it was just kids doing it. It could be teachers. It was parents. It could have been anybody getting those girls pregnant. It was horrible. It was a horrible story. And the way that they wanted to teach it, tackle that, was say, go to church, hang out with your parents more. Some bullshit. And it's like, what? They didn't even tell those girls they got raped. And if I was at that school in 1985 and I'm still alive, I would want to sue the school. I would want to sue whoever was a part of that shit right there.